We live in a society right now where everything's on your phone, and we've lost the ability to really connect with each other.
What should he or she do to try to raise the game?
From the upfront experience all the way back into the chair, it should just feel like one team passing the baton like in a really smooth 400-meter race. Think about all the ways the way we operate plays out, right? The assistants do a great job of that handoff. Be proud of yourself as a dental assistant. You're so worth so much in the practice.
You know, I've always had just one goal for Dental Assistant Nation, and that was to reach as many dental assistants around the world as I possibly could. So thank you for being a part of the community, and I want to make sure that you have hit the subscribe button so that you can not only help us spread the message and we can grow our reach, but also to make sure that you are getting the latest episodes delivered right to you the moment that we drop them. We are all about dental assistant education and empowerment here at Dental Assistant Nation, and we want to make sure that we are reaching as many dental assistants as possible. So thank you in advance, not only for being a part of this community, but for helping us spread the word. Hey everybody, welcome back into another edition of the Dental Assistant Nation podcast. My name is Kevin Henry, the founder of Dental Assistant Nation. So glad you've joined us today, and so glad to have on a dear friend and one of those industry experts out there, and that is the amazing Lorie Streeter. Hey Lorie, how are you?
Kevin, so good to see you. So good to see you, and hello to everybody out there. Very exciting.
It's great to see you, my friend, and obviously you have such experience with the front office managers. We want to tap into that today for those assistants. But before we do, tell our audience just a little bit about you before we dive in.
Absolutely. I've been in dentistry for 36 years now. So I celebrated my 46th birthday. So I started when I was 10 working for a dentist. I've always lied about that, but been in dentistry a very long time. I was a dental office manager for 12 years. Loved my dental assistant, had a very good relationship there. I went to work for a DSO that everybody probably knows well, Smile Brands. And then I spent the last 17 years working for the American Association of Dental Office Management, building that wonderful community with Heather Colicchio. And then now, super excited that we're finally able to talk together about something exciting. I work for a fantastic company called Max Assist. So I am the VP of U.S. expansion there, and our goal is basically to talk about what awesome things we're doing there as much as we possibly can.
And we're going to talk all about Max Assist here at the end, because I definitely want our audience to know about it, because I know anything that you're associated with, it's good. Let's just put it that way. It's that simple.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, I want to tap into that experience that you've had at the front desk with the front desk, and let's talk about the relationship between the front and the back, because I know you said you had a tremendous relationship with your assistants, but I know that that's not always the case. So how do we build that up? How do we, if it's not so great in one of these listeners' offices, how do we build it up? How do we get it there?
Well, for the office managers that might be listening, you need to have a great relationship with your assistant, bar none. I know that most of your audience are assistants, and I will tell you, you have one of the hardest and most thankless jobs in the practice. I remember when our assistant would call in sick and they would call me to the back, Kevin, and my face would turn like white as a sheet, and I'd be like, my doctor would be like, get up, get out. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not Jean. I'm not good like that. But I think the biggest thing is this should not be any kind of an adversarial relationship. And so many times it is. You hear this all the time, the back, the front, the back, the front. There is no back and front. There is the patient experience when they walk in. There's the patient experience when they go back to the chairs, and the patient experience with the doctor, right? We are all a team. And I think if there is any kind of change management that needs to occur between the two entities, It's that we are asking for a seamless transition for the patient from the front to the back. It should not feel like I entered happy land and then I went back to scary land. We do not want that change, right? We want it to feel like, imagine a field of lavender. The lavender doesn't get stinky as you go to the back. It stays really consistent. So from a consistency standpoint, my biggest tip for any dental assistant out there is, how do you make the wonderful welcome experience that they get from the front team? How do you carry that through? And I'm just thinking of my dentist office. I always feel like the assistants do a great job of that handoff, that working with front to the, I just said it, from the upfront experience all the way back into the chair. It should just feel like one team passing the baton like in a really smooth 400-meter race.
You know, and I love the lavender, okay? So I'm going to keep the lavender theme going here,
okay,
because you're right. We don't want the stinky one way or the other.
Right.
So are there really two handoffs in the practice whenever that patient goes back and whenever that patient comes up front? Sorry, I'm using the back front, but I got
No. Look at how habitual it is. You're absolutely right. So let's make it a circle of lavender. That handoff happens multiple times, and I'm thinking of a beautiful wreath on my door. You know, you want to make sure that that patient just has a similar experience all the way through the practice. And I think personally, Kevin, the dental assistant has to have the mindset of, this person is undoubtedly uncomfortable. And whether they're having to go back up and talk about their treatment, or whether they're sitting in the chair and the dental assistant has to make them feel comfortable, that's the whole idea from every aspect. Welcome, sit down, I've got you, here we go, now they've got you. It's that seamless. They talked about it when I first went to work for Maxisys. They talked about the handoff between the sale actually completing and then someone onboarding, right? And here's what they said. I have to fully trust that those onboarding people are going to do their job in order for me to hand this customer to them. So I would say the same thing as an office manager. I have to have full confidence that that handoff to the dental assistant is going to be smooth as possible. And I have to believe with all my heart that that assistant and the doctor are going to take excellent care of the patient.
You know, I've been to some dental practices where I've heard them say that, you know, this is Lorie. She's going to take such great care of you, and I'll see you back here whenever you come back. You know, things like that plant those seeds in the mind as well, I think is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And what does that show your patient? That you trust that this person, the person that's that assistant to that doctor. I mean, think about the role of an assistant for a minute. You are literally like a surgical tech. You are right there. They are having a very invasive moment where they're vulnerable for one, right? They're nervous. You're trying to make them as comfortable as possible without, of course, being ridiculous. For me, I'd be like, bring on the puppies. I'd be happy.
Sure.
So I want an experience where my anxiety is lessened as much as possible. And I also want to know that I can trust the person that's sticking the stuff in my mouth besides the dentist, right? So I want to know, I'm Susie, I'm John. I know how, you know, it's very uncomfortable to be laying back and have your mouth open. I'm here to make you comfortable. If something happens, just raise your left hand and I've got you. I'm right here. That tells me that you need something and we're here to listen. So having those cues for your patients as a dental assistant, I think is super important.
I cannot wait to be a part of the Rocky Mountain Dental Convention in 2026. We're going to be talking about the real state of dental assisting in 2026 in Denver on January 22nd and January 23rd. So I want you to be a part of this because dental assistants, we're going to bring you together in the Mile High City at the Rocky Mountain Dental Convention, and we're going to be talking about the things that are going well in the profession as well as the things that we can improve. It's going to be a great time of learning. I want to see you at the Rocky Mountain Dental Convention in Denver, January 22nd and January 23rd for real talk about the state of dental assisting in 2026. Join me and let's be real with each other. So I love the best case scenarios that we often talk about here on Dental Assistant Nation. And I also live in reality knowing some of these practices that are listening, they don't have that right now. If the dental assistant sees the problem with the handoff, what should he or she do to try to raise the game between the two parts of the practice, shall we say?
No, that's really good. I think most office managers or front office teams should be open to having conversations. I think sometimes a huddle is not the right place to do that because sometimes it's two individuals, right? The best thing to do if it were me, I'd be like, hey, Sally up front, do you want to go to lunch? Do you want to go to lunch? Let's go to lunch. I would literally be face to face about it and just say, I've noticed that when we do our patient handoff that there's a little bit of tension. You kind of seem preoccupied. You're not really engaged with the patient. You're trying to say it as nice as possible without saying, your handoff kind of stinks. So let's see if we can work on that. Because, a lot of times it's so funny. I think dental assistants, my office manager friends, I think dental assistants get blamed a little bit for that. That it's almost like it's their problem, that the transition, but I beg to differ. I think it's a two-way street. I think everybody can be in the middle of 5 different things and not make that connection. But I think it's the old-fashioned, kind of reminds me of stop, drop, and roll, but it's like stop, look, and listen. I don't know about you, but that's how I was taught to cross the street. Yeah. I think that that's what we should be doing during our patient handoffs. Stop what you're doing, look at both the assistant and the patient, same with the assistant, look at the patient and listen. So I'm listening intently to the assistant who just said, Mrs. Smith finished with Dr. Jones and she has some treatment to go over. I'm going to hand you back to Lorie in her capable hands so that you can have that experience with her. And I think from there, if we apply stop, look, and listen to both sides, it really makes for a present, precious conversation for the patient. Hey, that's a lot of P's, Kevin.
I love the alliteration. I love that. I think it's perfect. Absolutely. So
it's perfect. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. We are in the precious present with the patient. It's perfect. 4 P's.
That's beautiful. I'm telling
so
you.
So positive.
Look at that. All right.
High five. Goodness.
And I think it's really important as well that roles are defined in the practice, because I've been in places where I feel like I'm being passed back and forth, and at some point you go, wait, I just want one person to tell me what's going on, whether that's the finances, whether that's my treatment, whatever it might be. And so I want to make sure, I think cross-training is really important as well, to make sure that everybody kind of knows enough to be dangerous, for lack of a better term, but also to make sure that the patient understands that, as you said, you're in great hands because.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And, I was just thinking about, sometimes I see things, I know, not ghosts, but sometimes I see things as we're talking, and I literally saw like this roadmap. Wouldn't it be awesome? The patient came in and they were onboarding, and part of the silly paperwork that we give them is, here is a map of the patient experience. We are here to help you. Make sure we understand your insurance, what that looks like. This is what we do. And then we walk you into this section. So literally patients know exactly what's going to happen through their whole patient journey. We don't talk about that enough. And it really should be something, whether it's on some sort of device that they're looking like, that they're waiting, especially for new patients. But if that's been, so like, here's a great example. If that ball has been dropped, if the front fumbles the football, and now we have a handoff where that hasn't been discussed, if I was the dental assistant, I would absolutely be saying, okay, great, you met our great front office team. I'm going to take over now. I'm going to be your guide to the back. I will make sure everything's taken care of for you. And then when we're finished with Dr. Smith, I will walk you back up. And if there's anything you need from me, that's the time to check in, if you have any questions. And then I will hand you back to them, and they will give you all the information about your treatment, your checkout, all the things. We don't talk in that kind of language enough, I think. I think we live in a society right now where everything's on your phone, right?
Yeah.
And we've lost the ability to really connect with each other. And that's a shame that I can even say that, but I know you and I grew up in a little bit different generation. So if you're listening And when you're talking about cross-training, Kevin, it's so important because I'm not going to step in where the front team steps out. I want to be able to understand enough about what they do so that I can step in if there's need. And same goes for the back. If you have a cross-trained front office person and they can jump in if you're sick, great. Same thing goes with a dental assistant. It is so great to have some front office experience because then you're not crippled if somebody, everything doesn't stop right there. The practice doesn't cease to exist if one person is gone. I mean, I worked in a doctor's office where there was myself and an assistant and a hygienist and a doctor. There was 4 of us. It was a small practice, but when someone was gone, it was terrible because I was not a dental assistant. I was awful back there. So I have so much respect for those things that I can't do. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been asked to do perio charting for a hygienist and almost passed out. Like, it's just not, not everybody's thing. Just be proud of yourself as a dental assistant. You're so worth so much in the practice. They just couldn't do it without you.
And I'm going to mention just one more point here because I agree with that completely. And I also want to go back to what you were saying just a minute ago about that, sometimes everything's on our phone. Sometimes we're not making those connections. We have to be present. We can't be thinking about that next patient whenever the current patient's standing there in front of us. And I know dental assistants, I've heard you said, I got to turn over the room. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And sometimes we've got to put that on hold just because we've still got this patient in front of us and they should be the most important thing.
Yeah, I'd say number one, maybe you're understaffed, but that's a whole nother topic, right? For another day. But you should have enough flexibility in the patient flow to be able to be connected. And I think, we believe, at least at my company that I work for, connection equals growth. And we're not going to grow if we're not connected. I mean, can you imagine if your dentist, if let's say by chance they were, working in the mouth, but they were also scrolling on their phone, or they were talking to the next room about what's going on in this room. I mean, think about all the ways the way we operate plays out, right? So I think if I was a dental assistant and I had a couple top priorities, one would be comfort and safety, right, for the patient. And then the second thing would be to create the optic, whether it's always 100% true or not, that the patient is the most important thing in that moment. Because I know we all want to feel that way. I feel that way today with you. I feel like there's nobody else on this podcast but us.
Well, and if I was doing this, you probably wouldn't feel that way. So
that's right. That's right. And it's such a good point. And Kevin, there's nothing more important than pulling light to the fact that, people all get worried about AI and all the things that are going to take over and we're all going to become robots. That's only true if we let that happen. There is never going to be an artificial intelligence that replaces the presence, the productivity, the positivity, all the P's of an actual person and our personal interaction that we can have with each other.
Pal, I don't know how to, how can you top that right there? It's perfect.
I don't know. It's been great, pal.
It has. The Chicago Midwinter Meeting. It's one of the biggest meetings in the dental industry every year, and this year is going to be extra special because I'm going to be talking to dental assistants at the meeting, and I can't wait to be a part of it. So dental assistants and dental team members, join me Friday, February 20th, as we talk about harnessing the powers and personalities in the dental practice. Why can't we all just get along? We're going to talk about that. And then Saturday, February 21st, it's going to be extra special because dental assistants, this one's just for you as we talk about battling and beating the demons of dental assisting. So join me at the 2026 Chicago Midwinter Meeting. I can't wait to see you in the Windy City. Well, like I said, whenever we started this, any company that has Lorie Streeter as a part of it is a company worth knowing. So tell us a little bit about Max Assist and what my dental assistants need to know about that.
As you're listening out there, there's a lot of misconception that we are a patient communication service. Yes, and we do all the things that everybody needs, but from a practice productivity standpoint, Max Assist is something to look at, not only because we have great P's, but also because, like I said, we believe that connection equals growth. And I love that we say that we don't mind selling software to do it. I would just say, if you're in a practice and you believe that there are missing opportunities in your charts and your patients are coming back, but you think, oh my gosh, I need new patients, sometimes that's true, but 80% of the time the patients have already come into your practice. You just need to get them re-engaged, get their treatment scheduled, and we give you a way to do that that's efficient. We also have AI, and the AI in our software basically tells a front office, back office, whatever office, front, back, here, we're never supposed to say that ever again. Right. Whether it be an assistant or an office person up front, we can show you how to plan your day that's the most efficient in order to fill hygiene chairs or doctor restorative chairs. And I just challenge people to take a look at it. That's maxed in, maxed out. We love all of that. And we think that everybody should be doing that, whether you're an assistant, a hygienist, or somebody working in the front.
Can't argue that either. You just keep making these points, and I just have to say you're right. It's amazing. So
you know what? I'm here to please, and that's all I have to say. Okay. You and I are going to have an acronym contest. It's going to be all
we are.
Perfect.
It's pretty tough, I tell you.
Yep.
Well, we're going to put the information for Max Assist in the show notes, so it's going to be real easy for you to find, real easy for you to connect with Lorie and her amazing team to see if this is something that might be good for your practice. But I can tell you what's going to be amazing for your practice is if you put some of the things into effect that Lorie has talked about today. So my friend, thanks so much for being a part of this today. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. And for those assistants out there, keep fighting the good fight. You're doing a great job. Take good care of your patients.
Oh, amen to that. Amen. And that's a great note to end on for this episode of the Dental Assistant Nation podcast. Absolutely. Check out Lorie, check out Max Assist, and make sure you're thinking about those patients and how that handoff is happening so great in your practice. Until next time, it's Kevin Henry, founder of Dental Assistant Nation, signing off. And as always, wishing you nothing but success.